everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about how I went from reading 0 books a year to 50 plus books a year. So essentially I went through a bit of a reading drought from 2018 to 2021 where some years I read nothing, other years I read maybe like 3 books maximum. So I really fell off reading. Before that I'd read like maybe 20 books a year, but it's like only the last 2 years where I've been reading quite consistently over 50 books a year. So I thought I'd put together some other things that helped me and some things that I think will be helpful for people who are looking to read a little bit more and get some more reading into their life. So first thing is get yourself a library card. I feel like this is the biggest one that has helped me, and that's because one, it's free because you have an interest in reading, but you don't want to buy it because you're not sure if you're actually going to like it. You can just borrow for free. You can branch out into so many different genres. If you don't know what you like to read, you have so many different choices all for free. So in the UK it's quite easy. You just sign up online and then you have access to all of the ebooks and audiobooks that your library has, and then you can go into the branch and get your library card, and then you have access also to physical books. So you'll have access to physical books, audiobooks and ebooks all for free, which is game changing. I think a lot of the books that I read the last few years, a lot of them have been on my library, and it really helps you to diversify your reading in the sense that you're not limited to the books that you do own, and you don't have to buy books to read them. You can kind of try out different things because of they are free and available to you. And also it's really good, I think, just to support your local library that way by taking out books and reading them. And did I mention it's free? And then the next one is a little bit more general, but it is make sure that you set aside time to read. And it doesn't have to necessarily be like, oh, I'm going to read for 2 hours every day. It's more of a setting aside time maybe in the morning when you wake up, or setting a little bit of time aside before you go to bed, or on your lunch break, or on your commute. Just setting aside a little bit of time where normally you maybe do something like scroll on your phone and replace that with reading. It doesn't have to be like super long either. Even if you're reading for like 15 minutes, that time all adds up, and you then will get through so many more books. And you'll get so much more reading done than you would have done otherwise. Also, like reading in times when you're like waiting for something. I think this is really good if you have, say, like the library app, like you can get Libby on your phone. Most people bring their phone everywhere with them. So if you have your phone on you and you're waiting somewhere, you can always just take it out and read for 10 minutes. I find this really helpful because of, I think like most people, I take my phone everywhere. So I always kind of have a book with me, even if I haven't got a physical book or forgot to pack a physical book or a e-reader or anything like that. I think while Libby isn't available, like Libby doesn't let you send your books to your Kindle in the UK. First I was a bit annoyed about it, but actually it's really been helpful because of it makes me read on my phone instead of scrolling on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. So yeah, essentially you're making reading a habit in some way, and it doesn't have to be like a massive habit. It just is getting it in those little spaces of time where you'd usually be not doing much. So yeah, Libby's actually helped me in that way, I guess. I'm also doing things like maybe using it as a reward for something. So if you do like a certain amount of time of work and then you give yourself 10 minutes of reading time, I think that's really helpful because it makes it into a reward for you, and it has all of those positive kind of associations with doing something good. So yeah, making time for reading, super helpful. Okay, and then the next one might be a little bit controversial, but I firmly think that audiobooks count as reading, and they are like game changing to listen to audiobooks. You can borrow so many audiobooks from the library, which is how I listen to mine. And you can also do so many different things. If you're a busy person, like I think most people are, you can listen to audiobooks and do things at the same time. So you could go for a walk listening to an audiobook, you could listen on your commute, you could listen in the car, you could listen while cooking, you can listen while cleaning. So many things you can do while listening to an audiobook and getting through the books that you want to read. I know that I always have one on when I do washing up. It just makes it go so much faster, and I'm doing something fun and productive at the same time. Also, going for walks, I like listening to an audiobook on a walk, and sometimes I'll even extend my walk because I want to keep listening to the book, which is also just a good thing. You can put headphones on and just listen anywhere. You can get them from your library for free, or you can listen on like a paid subscription and like Everand, where you can pay a subscription and you'll get access to ebooks and audiobooks. Audiobooks, so good for getting through books. I usually listen to books that don't have much flowery language just because it is then easier to multitask on what you're doing. So I usually listen to things like thrillers or horrors or contemporary fiction, which doesn't have too much flowery language in it. I think I find it a little bit harder to listen to something like a literary fiction or a fantasy where I'm really trying to imagine something and it doesn't work as well when I'm trying to multitask. So I usually listen to something a bit simpler. Also, I think having an e-reader or some way of reading digitally, I think has helped me loads. For some reason, reading on a Kindle or on my phone, it just seems to go so much faster. Like you just seem to speed through a book. I don't know what it is. It's just the truth. But I also think that reading on an e-reader helps you get through bigger books because you feel less intimidated because you can't see the size of a book. So you could be reading a 600-page book, but it doesn't feel as intimidating as holding the big thing, and you don't get the kind of like, ache from holding such a big book in your hands. Also more portable, so you can just like pop it in your bag when you're going out instead of packing a massive book if you don't have the space for it. Also there's like Kindle Unlimited, where you can pay a certain amount per month and it will give you access to a bunch of different books, which I think is also good if you don't know what you like to read or you want to try out different genres. There's loads of different books on there, and you can just pick and choose and try them all out if you're looking for something like that. Also, Kindle always has such good 99p deals, so occasionally different books will get reduced down to 99p, and I've picked up some really good books on there, and lots of popular ones I see come up as 99p. Sometimes I have to stop myself from buying too many. That's always good because of it's quite an inexpensive way to then buy books. And also I think you can read with the Kindle app on your phone, so you can also do that. But yes, having an e-reader, reading on your tablet or your phone, digitally reading, I feel like really has helped me to read a bit more, just because of it is a bit easier to have around, to pop in your bag, and just seems to go faster. It just seems to go faster when you're reading digitally. And also on Kindle, you can see the percentage, and it kind of makes it into a game where you're watching the percentage go up and you want to keep reading because of that percentage keeps going up, which I think also maybe contributes to the fastness of e-reading. And then the other thing that I think is the thing that actually got me back into reading, and that is being a part of bookish communities, bookish spaces, whether that's BookTube, BookTok, Bookstagram, anything like that. I think being part of those communities or just like watching content from those communities really inspires you and encourages you to read a bit more and wants to get involved in those kind of conversations and debates and all of the news that's coming out. Just getting involved, it really makes you want to read more, and I think inspires you to read a little bit more and get a little bit more reading into your life and in your day. I think just being surrounded by that kind of content can be really inspiring. I think also though, you do have to be careful with the kind of comparison and people reading 60 books in a month, which I think is only really realistic if you are like a full-time content creator who doesn't have any other responsibilities outside of that. Those are the kind of, I think it's just a thing just to be careful and remind yourself that it's not realistic for every person to be reading 60 books a month. Just try not to fall into that comparison trap. Those are all the things that really helped me to read a bit more, and hopefully can help if anyone else is looking for ways to read a little bit more and get more reading in their life. So just an overview is like getting yourself a library card, prioritizing time to read and making it into a habit, reading in your in-between times instead of scrolling, listening to more audiobooks, and reading digitally, which I think is the kind of one that actually has been the biggest game changer for me in terms of reading more. And it takes a bit of adjustment, I think, to be able to read on like, say, your phone or something that's not a Kindle. But I think that actually really helped me to read a lot more, especially in terms of reading in like little spaces of time. And I think being in bookish spaces really inspires people to read more and get back into reading. So yes, those are all of my tips. If you have any tips as well on how you read more or incorporate reading more into your day, I'd love to hear them, and I'm sure anyone else on this video would love to hear them too. I know I'm always interested. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!